Thank you for joining me tonight for another adventure through the EVPs. My name is Patty Starr. The name of my YouTube channel is Patty Starr Supernatural. For those of you tuning in for the first time, I am a certified ghost hunter of over 40 years ghost hunting. And one of the most popular questions that I'm asked is, what is your favorite type of evidence? And my favorite type of evidence is what we call EVPs, electronic voice phenomena. And when I'm on an investigation and I'm using several tape recorders, sometimes I get pretty lucky. And sometimes when we filter through and we're listening at the recordings that we've gotten with our audio recorders, what I want to do is I'll listen for whispers, I'll listen for voices that I know are not with us, like children's voices, and we don't have children on the investigation. And there's a way that we try to eliminate any type of contamination as well. But for me, sometimes one of the strongest evidence that I can get is EVPs. Now, over the years, I have been able to do classes, and I actually certify other people that are wanting to maybe add something else to their hobbies, like ghost hunters, and they want to get a little more education, or maybe learn from someone with a lot of experience. And so during this time, I've come up with several different things that I do when I'm actually trying to capture EVPs. One of my favorite places in capturing EVPs was at the art gallery that my husband owned. And I started having classes there, and we had what we called a resident ghost. His name was Henry, and he was a black man. Actually, he did not actually live or have anything with the building to do with the building, but with the property. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Henry. But when I would have classes, sometimes Henry would come through, especially when we were dowsing and answer questions. And I remember one time I was in my shop there at the gallery, my ghost hunter shop, and I happened to glance over and I could see Henry standing over in the corner. And so I asked him, I said, of all the years you've been here and we have these classes and we try to send spirits or help spirits continue to cross over, why haven't you crossed over? And he said to me, because I'm here to help you. I am one of the facilitators that bring the spirits here to speak to the students. So as you teach them how to gather EVPs, or if you're doing a dowsing session, that I can help. And then in turn, you guys always do a crossover. So I thought, wow, that makes sense. And then I thanked him. So tonight what I'd like to do, instead of playing a lot of different EVPs, what I'd like to do is tell the story of Henry. And I do have a full-blown apparition of Henry. And he does appear as a black man. You can see his skin color and everything. And it's so funny because when I first got married to my husband, Chuck, and he took me to the gallery, I began to work for him. I became his marketing director, and I took over the website and different retail sales that he had coming in. And about the second or third day I was there, I met Henry. Now, at first, I didn't know his name. I just knew that he was a black man, and he wore overalls. So after a while, I got brave enough to go to my new husband and say, do you know that this gallery has a ghost that's sort of hanging out here? And he was really shocked and amazed. And so I really wanted to find out more about Henry. So in questions and answers and trying to meet with him, I found out that he was, of course, a black man. That's what I saw. So I knew he was a black man in overalls. And he was around 50 years old when he passed away, and he had a heart attack. And he passed away right around the early 50s. And so during my class one afternoon, I had another psychic medium that wanted to take my class. His name was Victor Perudo. And he also does a wonderful convention in Cincinnati. And Victory of Light is his convention. And he also picked up on Henry. And I asked him some questions. I said, I've been trying to get more information about Henry. And so he told me that he felt that Henry somehow worked with animals. So since the Red Mile was just about a block down from where we were located, I said, oh, I know, he must have worked with the horses because they had horse races here. And there's an old road, they don't use it anymore, that goes in the back of where our building was. I said, that old road at one time, they would run horses up and down this road. And he said, nope, believe it or not, Henry is showing me that he actually worked with more exotic animals. You know, like tigers, lions, maybe elephants. And I thought, well, now that's way too strange. Way too strange. And so anyway, I was glad to get that information. And also, Victor did pick up on the name Henry. So we started addressing Henry. We would leave at night and say, good night, Henry, when we would close up the shop. And also, at Christmas and holidays, we would wish, Henry a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and that type of thing. And so one day, I thought this was really exceptional. One day, a gentleman came into our shop, and my husband also framed, he would frame any kind of artwork, and he would also frame pictures. And this gentleman brought in an aerial of the property in the 50s where our building was now, at that time where our building was. Now that building where we were staying, where the art gallery was not built until like 1985. So this is the property back in the 1950s. And it was really strange because right in the middle of the property where our building would have stood if it was built, stood a big, what they call a top tent top, and it looked like something from a circus. So we asked him, we said, what is this? And he goes, oh, the Lions Club used to bring in the circus. And they would set up at the Red Mile, but they would bring the bigger animals back here, and this is where they house the bigger animals. And I said things like tigers, lions, elephants, that kind of thing, and he said, exactly. So at that point, I got pretty excited because I felt like we had a great story that we could share about Henry. We had the beginning, and the beginning was that he took care of the animals. In the middle, unfortunately, his passing, where while dowsing, I learned that he passed when he was 50, around 1950. And then, of course, the ending of the story, it hadn't really ended because now Henry was coming forth during my classes. He would speak to us. He would give us EVPs. He would tell us things when we were dowsing. And so he was sort of like a facilitator that would come through so that I could teach the students one-on-one and what to expect when a spirit would come through and work with us. So that's my story about Henry. Now, in one particular occasion, I had a class, and when we would have our classes would last about 8 hours. We'd have on Saturday. And then at the end of class, we would actually do a 2-hour investigation right there at the gallery because it was very active. and we got other spirits that would come through. And this lady that took my course, her name was Vicky, she walked down the hall towards the back of the building where we were all going to go and kind of set up our equipment, do some EVP sessions, do some dowsing, that kind of thing. And she just happened to turn, and this happens to me quite a bit. You just get a feeling. She just turned and looked toward the front of the building, and there was a window all the way up front. There was a window. She just snapped a picture, and we, or she, I shouldn't say we, but she got like a full-blown apparition of a black man standing there looking down at us. We were so excited. So we would continue to have investigations there. And then one time I had a group of ladies that signed up. There was 6 of them. They came in from Ohio. We had a lot of fun. They were just cracking me up. You know, they were just that type of people that just wanted to laugh all the time. So here we are. We finished the course. And now we're in our 2-hour investigation. So I'm actually walking down the hall, and I'm talking to the ladies, and I'm telling them what kind of activity we got in this room, or what kind of voices we got over here, or maybe what type of apparition we got here. And just as we are rounding the corner, getting ready to go into the employee lounge, I thought I'd make a joke. So I said, and now I'm going to take you to my favorite place in the building. Laugh, 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 ha, 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 the employee lounge. When I said that, all of a sudden I heard, sometimes I can hear spirit, and then what's really great is I hear it, I acknowledge it, then when I play it back, it's there. So I said to the group, wait, hold on, did somebody whisper? And everybody's like, no, I don't know, we're because that's one of the things that I asked them not to do on a ghost investigation. Do not whisper. If you're going to speak, speak out loud. Don't whisper. And so I told them, I said, somebody, it was a male, somebody said, look behind me. And so anyway, I just stopped my recorder, because when I do a ghost investigation, I run a recorder the whole entire investigation. That's where I get the majority of my EVPs. Now, I do have a secondary recorder, and I will do what I call 30-second sessions. I call them absolutes, where I try to get a direct question out with a direct answer to the question. But in turn, I'm even recording that session as well. So I always have 2 recorders. And so anyway, I stopped my recorder at that point. I rewound it. And sure enough, you can hear me say, we're going into the employee lounge, and I laugh. And you hear this voice, male voice in the background say, look behind me. It was very low, but it was definitely there. And then you hear me say, did y'all say something? Did y'all whisper? I heard something that said, look behind me. And I was so grateful to myself for acknowledging the fact that I heard it with my natural ear. And I was very happy to have picked it up as an EVP. That's why I feel like EVPs are such great evidence to capture, especially when you have that type of activity going on. So, believe it or not, let me take my glasses off. You know how that gets when you get old. There you go. And I have the EVP queued up, and I'm going to play it a couple of times for you, but I want you to listen, and I'll kind of cue you when you'll be able to hear him say, look behind me. And that's exactly the way he sounds. Okay, so here we go.
Let's go in here. This is our favorite place. This is our employee lounge. Hey, did you whisper? Did you just whisper? heard something. I heard something said, look behind me. It was right here. I swear it said, look behind me.
So, that's it. I'm going to play it one more time. I'll try to point and mouth it a little bit. But he definitely says, look behind me.
All right, let's go in here. This is our favorite place. This is our employee lounge. Hey, did you whisper? Did you just whisper? I heard something. I heard something said, look behind me. It was right here. I swear it said, look behind me.
And so I was so convinced at that point that Henry was coming through again. And that wasn't the first time he's come through. He's helped us out when we've been dowsing, different things like that. But I was so excited about this, and it was a male voice. I could tell it was a male voice. And there were no males with us. It was 5 or 6, I'm not real sure. I think it was 6 of these ladies that decided to come together and have the, take the class, because later on they did want to form their own little ghost hunting group. And so there was no men there. So I was pretty excited when Henry came through and actually did the voice for us. And then there's also other things that I've been kind of lucky to get, having these classes at the collector's gallery. Sometimes when I pick up the voices, they would sound feminine, like there was a woman. And then what I used to get pretty excited about is that when I would ask for certain activity, like when I would want a name or something like that, I was always grateful that these other spirits would come through. And with Henry being what I refer to as a facilitator, where sometimes he would bring them in, he would kind of find them, bring them in. We would talk to them while we were doing our dowsing rods, and we would ask them if they needed help with their final crossing over. And sometimes they would say yes. We would either get a yes through the rods, or we would get a yes in an EVP. And so sometimes we would actually be getting things from Henry, but then again, sometimes we would be getting things from other people that would come through. On another time when we were doing a class, I had a person that was dowsing, and we got that it was a little boy. Now this little boy died, and he was upset with his father, and we couldn't understand why the little boy felt his father was the cause of his death. But as we continued to ask questions, we found out that his father was a doctor. So then it sort of made sense, why the little boy was upset at his father. I guess he felt like he should have saved me. Anyway, when we were during that session, we asked if it was a little boy, and we got a very low whisper. I'm going to play it. I hope you can hear it. And the name was Junior. So that made sense as well. So hold on. Here we go.
Are you a small child? Are you a little boy?
Junior. Okay. Now, another thing I would like for you to notice is that when I play it, you can hear, are you a little boy? And a lot of times, right before we would get an EVP, and this used to be the thing that would trigger me when I would be listening, is that all of a sudden you just get like a height, and it's not real loud static, but you can just hear this change when she says, are you a little boy? Then all of a sudden it goes, shh, before you hear the name Junior.
Are you a small child? Are you a little boy?
And it's a very, very, very soft Junior, named Junior. So sometimes these EVPs, before I would get an actual EVP, I would hear a pop, pop, pop. So I would always listen for pop, pop, pops. I would listen for a change in the, just the, what do you call the sound, the background sounds. Sometimes a static would come in right before the EVP. So those are a lot of different things that would happen that would cue me as a ghost hunter, and as I'm listening within my earphones, it would cue me, oh, somebody's about to speak. Or and sometimes it wouldn't always be a voice. Sometimes the EVPs, I know, electronic voice phenomena, but sometimes it could be a footprint, it could be a scream, it could be a sigh even, like that, and so much not like a voice. So they were always other sounds that we could get, like in the TB hospital, and I want to do another whole YouTube on the TB hospital. But even the TB hospital, we would even hear the sound of wheels on a gurney rolling down the hallway, and it would even clank. You know, you could tell it was a wheel on a gurney. So we would classify that as an EVP, even though it wasn't a voice. So these are just some fun things to learn when you're doing an EVP session, or if you're just doing an investigation and you want to use these recorders. I always suggest that you have 2 recorders, one that will record everything, and then when you do sessions recorders, sometimes you need 3, and you don't want to interrupt the recorder that you are recording the whole entire affair. Then you can take 2 recorders when you have the 30-second session where you're asking questions, waiting 30 seconds, and then going back in to see if they'll answer. For me, a true EVP, electronic voice phenomena, is when you don't get them on both. They'll just come through on one or the other, but not both. But sometimes now, it's for me, it's very convincing that I've actually gotten an EVP, a true evidence of a ghost, when I would get on 2 different mediums. Like I would get EVP on a audio recorder, and then I would get an EVP on the video recorder. And so it's always kind of, for me, that's like a double whammy, and also maybe a little more credibility in that we've actually gotten a spirit that had enough energy to spread out and be able to tap into both pieces of equipment. Because when you think about it, someone asked me an important question the other day. I thought it was kind of cool about how when we speak, we have vocal cords that are making that sound. So when the ghost speaks and they don't physically have these vocal cords, how are we hearing their voices? I thought that was an extremely interesting question. And for me, I think it's just a manner of them having the impression to be able to force that energy into a voice. That would be the way that I would explain it. But I thought it was a very good question. And if you guys listening to this YouTube, if you have your own opinion, or maybe you've done some other research, because I'm getting so excited lately. I've been watching other ghost hunters that have YouTube channels. They're younger, they're trying different equipment, their spirits and their enthusiasm is off the charts. I've been enjoying watching so many of these YouTube ghost hunters. I mean, some of them are pretty cool. They use the Spirit Box 7 and Spirit Box 11, and they get all this inside information from this equipment. They go back, and then it turns up what they requested comes through. So anyway, if you're some of those guys out there and you happen to see this video and you think, oh, I've got an excellent explanation for that particular instant, please write it down, send it to me. If you've captured something and you can really explain how the voices come through, oh, I am so open to learning from all you new guys that are out there doing these ghost investigations. So if you've enjoyed the YouTube tonight, and this has been fun for you, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. And that way, as I continue to do these YouTube videos, and you'll be able to get a notice, and that you can come in and listen to it. I hope it's been fun. It's always fun for me to share, and I hope you do enjoy, and maybe learn something new. And I'm open to all of you guys, because I know I can sure learn something new as well. So thank y'all. I sure do appreciate it. Take care.